Chat, here we go. We got Joreuz versus Rezears. Joreuz says, no, it's gone. And the reason why he said that is because he was asking me, he wanted to play Fennec, but he's on some interesting account that has to become his new account for some reason or another. And he was hoping he had a way to play Fennec, but as soon as he joined the match, and he was Fennec before we joined the match, it switched to an Octane. So looks like he's going to have to play Octane, at least for game number 1. Rezears says he's got an extra Fennec in chat. I'm sure there's more people in chat who would appreciate a Fennec. Anybody in chat want a Fennec from Rezears? I'm sure he'll give it to all of you. I can't imagine why he wouldn't do that. But today, we have a 1v1 like we normally do. It is going to be a best of 7. Rezears and Joreuz are both going to be playing Gamers 8s, or Gamers Without Borders is actually what the qualifying tournament for Gamers 8 is, which is a crew battle tournament alongside their team. It'll have 3s, 2s, and 1s, and they'll probably be representing their team for the 1v1 game mode. I think Rezears almost certainly will. I'd be most surprised if he didn't play. And then there's a small chance Ixo plays a bit of 1s that they could use Ixo on Oxygen, but I have a feeling they'll most likely stick with Joreuz. So these guys are looking to get some reps before the qualifier starts for them tomorrow. They're on different sides of the bracket, so they shouldn't have to be playing each other unless they've either done very, very well, or maybe if they've done very poorly and they lose quickly, they might end up playing each other. But I have high hopes for both the Oxygen and G1 squad. Or not G1, sorry, Monkeys. We might get a G1 team member playing 1s later if we can find an opponent for them. But Jinja, thank you for the Prime for 9 months. Joreuz has an easy win. So it's interesting that you say that. The last 2 times that these guys have played, I think they've played twice before. And I'll go ahead and pull it up as Joreuz pops up into a backflip flick. I am going to just head on over to rlduels.gg and see what it says about this matchup against Rezears and Joreuz. Yo, Catfish Squidward, thank you for the Prime for 2 months. Joreuz full field dribble. Switch to his perspective here. He is just farming right now. Rezears messaged me, said that he wanted to work on 1v1. He said he needed to relearn the game mode. I have a feeling he didn't lose as much as he maybe wants to imply, but I tell you what, Joreuz definitely hasn't missed a beat since the last time he played on stream. Both these guys are around the same rating in 1v1 on the leaderboard, which is actually fairly low for both of them, I would say. I think it's in the 70s or 80s. But we all know that they're high caliber when it comes to tournament matches. And I have pulled up their previous records. So they played a show match in September of last year that Rezears won in Game 5. But then they played in Pro Drops EU, if you guys remember that tournament that Johnny hosted. And in that one, it was a best of 7, which Joreuz won 4-2. So neither player dominated the other, I would say, when they've played in the past. In both show matches, the losing player won twice. Of course, with a best of 7, it means Joreuz won by a bit more margin. So this is the rubber match now. He can win the best of 3 in terms of show matches if he can take Rezears down. Rezears air dribbling, but Joreuz is not reacting to it. So he brings the reset right back down to the ground. Joreuz with no boost left over, just trying to get it clear to buy himself a bit of time, and the best of attacks from Rezears to try and capitalize on what is a starved out Joreuz. But now is his moment. If he get the power on the shots, he can just score with no chance, but he misses wide. Wasn't the easiest of shots. Some people would consider it an open net, but it is a very tough open net to hit. And Rezears takes a dribble and goes low. His offense starting now, and couldn't really afford for it to start much later. We all forget how close Joreuz was to beating Zen during Zen's win streak. Yeah, it was crazy. I was watching that match and I thought, Zen, it's ended. Joreuz did it. And not only did he do it, he crushed. He just dominated, which is something that nobody would have expected. Joreuz was seconds away from sweeping Zen. And then, of course, we all know how it eventually ended. Joreuz trying to convert off a kickoff. He bumped Rezears so far out of position, but I guess wasn't able to get around the ball and capitalize because Rezears was really struggling to regain control of his car. Joreuz challenged and able to tap the redirect in. Rezears needs to win the majority of kickoffs, if not all the kickoffs here in the last minute 30 to bring back the 3 goals. He's won this one, but he's not converting it into much of anything. And now he's just doing his best to hold on to possession. Joreuz chasing him down, preventing him from taking a wall-to-air dribble, because if he had done so, Rezears would have just been taken off the map. Joreuz threatening that demo. And Rezears actually finds a way to score this. Bit of an awkward take down the field, but these short taps and mix-ups make it hard for Joreuz to time his challenge, and he ends up just jumping and 180ing right behind the ball. What was the name of that website? It's RL Duels. Duels, like the game mode 1v1 is called Duels when you queue up into it. .gg. It's a great database of all 1v1s that have been played pretty much. They're not all on there yet, but they're in the process of getting basically back to the start of the one's game mode, really, in Showmatch form. So it's very cool to see the history of different matchups easily. Like I mentioned before, the previous method was to just search it on YouTube and look at the thumbnails and just think, how did those go? I forget. Or you could check and go through the video and find out, but Rezears needs this possession to last long. He didn't necessarily need to score, but he had to hold on to the ball, and instead, Joreuz just slams it directly into the net. Rezears not doing a great job of protecting the ball. In fact, I don't even know if he got a touch after that bounce. They're all in there, 2016 to current. Oh, look at that. Dr. Daring PhD. For a while, he is a main contributor to RL Duels. For a while, they didn't have all of them, but it sounds like they're getting closer and closer, if not have them all now. They're also like Wikipedia. A lot of times they'll be there updating really soon after a game ended. It'll just be up there right away. Joreuz playing a bit of keep away, taking advantage of Rezears having to be extra aggressive in the final moments. Game number 1. Going to Joreuz. There was a couple minutes there that Rezears had the edge, but Joreuz stopped him before making it all the way back. Game number 1. Going to Joreuz. I think they might be hopping out of the match and trying to find... I think he's trying to get his Fennec back. Game number 2. Maybe one of the reasons why he has to be on the new account is because he has RLCS Regional Champion on this account. I don't know how the tagging works. Maybe it gave a tag to his Epic account and he assigned his Epic account to this one, but this is certainly the account you want to play on if it has that tag. But Rezears says, I don't care if you're an RLCS Regional Champion because I'm on the rise and I have the 1v1 talent to get it past you. Look at the pogo. Rezears, a great start after a game 1 loss. He has always been, oh my goodness, not the best continuation to his great start though. He has been one of the great pogoers is what I was about to say, but he tries to pre-flip to get back into position to make saves, and instead he actually just slams what would have been a pass to the corner directly into his net. Joreuz, maybe you could argue, knew that Rezears was going to be panic retreating and just set it up for him to own goal it, but either way, it'll be a tie game. Rezears doing a great job on this dribble. You can see the whole way he has Joreuz in his vision, and he's very patient. He's not going to freak out, free jump, try and, you know, make an early play if Joreuz isn't going to challenge him. And because he's approaching that left side of the net, that's the reason why you can see Joreuz so clear as day on the right side of his screen. If he was attacking the near post, he actually might have had a tough time and might have had to you know, might have been quicker to panic and flick early because he thought Joreuz's nameplate behind the ball could be challenging. But no, with that clear vision, he waits until he can flick it past him. He's able to follow it up with another kickoff goal. So 3-1. Rezears to the ceiling. Has a great bounce for an air dribble. He will not pass it up. Leaning back into the reset. Joreuz is playing goal line defense, and Rezears is too smart to just tap the ball to him. Might be able to get away with this against certain players, but Rezears waits until the bounce just outside the goal line to boom the shot faster than a double jump can handle. Any matches after? We might look to get another match for players who will be playing tomorrow. The 1v1s in their Gamers 8 team. Nice shot from Rezears. This is one of the craziest back and forths. I mean, it happens a lot in 1v1. I've talked about this before, as Rezears gets a reset into the clean musty. But you'll have series where the first game one player will dominate, the second game the other will, and then from then on out, it's usually much closer as they get reads on each other. But I've never seen it quite as drastic as this. This is almost perfectly mirrored. This is the same start that Joreuz got out to against Rezears. And if we're to keep the trend up, it means Joreuz has to start to bring it back starting very soon. Catch and flick. Far too soft, but actually because he's going supersonic speed, and Rezears therefore has to match him at supersonic as he races back to the net. It's hard to turn around and make the right save. Rezears gets a little caught up in dashing his way up the wall, and Joreuz gets to just pinch this away. Rezears might have been in position if he wasn't deciding to go for that dash so early and kind of committing himself to a long, mechanic. It's almost like you write the script. Yeah, that's exactly how I told him to play it. What are your thoughts on the Moxie versus Nupo beef? I think I kind of already mentioned what I thought about it before. I think the only thing that's changed since last time we streamed is that Moxie has sent out an apology, which is appropriate. You know, I mean, I think it's probably worth an apology. And so I think it can all be settled, if you ask me. Joreuz not wanting to head back to net as he tries to stay directly underneath the play. Rezears forces him to, though. Settled on the field. Yeah, I mean, in that way, Nupo settled it by winning. Rezears, what a smooth catch. Talking about protecting the ball. This is a crazy own goal by Joreuz as well. But Rezears protects the ball perfectly all the way to the ground. Never is there a moment where you could feel like you could challenge him, and then Joreuz ends up own goaling the bounce off the crossbar. What happened to Moxie and Nupo? It was just Moxie and Nupo played a best of 7, and it got a bit chippy, as Moxie matches generally do. And then after Moxie lost, he brought the same chippiness into the DMs of Nupo. And so it, of course, got a lot of attention. I don't necessarily condone that behavior, but Moxie, he's done that a lot, and it was all game related, which I know it's a pretty low bar to set, but some players sometimes can't even pass over that. All of his trash talk was about Nupo's earnings in Rocket League and his Rocket League, you know, I'm better than you because this match doesn't matter, whatever, all that kind of stuff. It might be a tad cringe, but at least it's not, you know, personal attacks. Given the age of most top tier players, you're surprised there's not more situations? Yeah, I mean, when I was Moxie's age, luckily there was no internet and stuff, so if I ever had, you know, tough losses in my games, nobody would have ever known what I thought to say. So would I have said that stuff? I don't know. But luckily for me, there was never even a chance. Rezears is going to win this game. GG from Joreuz. We won't make them wait out the last minute as he's able to tie the series. Game number 3. Why on earth was the cameraman so bad for quals earlier? I think it's just like an RLCS level cameraman who's maybe being a bit more experimental than people are used to. As Joreuz scores immediately in this game. I think that everybody in the ones world is very used to player cam from the 2 players being the only thing that you use, and I think that is pretty sufficient for 1v1. Player cams back and forth can be tough to handle in every other mode because you don't know which perspective to switch to. That's the right one, but in ones you just switch to the other perspective whenever one becomes bad. So I think they were just doing, you know, experimental, more like RLCS type observation. And I didn't think I hated it nearly as much as chat did. Chat was saying they didn't like how it worked, how it looked and stuff, but I don't know. It wasn't that big a deal to me. Cosmic just said he's going to Gamers 8 LAN and rolled his stream. Yeah, so you guys may have seen my tweet. Sorry I'm not talking too much about the game, but this is about Gamers 8, which is what these guys are prepping for. Cosmic was able to win in a 1v1 to qualify Koi past complexity. And I mentioned that it only really feels right. As much as I love having one specialist play, I think it's great. To me, they just should also be allowed and be able to play at the actual event. Which last time around, they did not have any of the one specialist play. But this time around, Cosmic seems to be under the impression that he will be able to play. So I must take his word for it, which is good to see. We'll see Cosmic, you know, it'll be interesting during other game modes, him just kind of sitting around waiting for the ones to come up. But hey, the 1v1 will come up, and if he can clutch up for his squad, it'll be great to see. Joreuz trying to pop off right now, but Rezears actually covers low despite the threat and high. Rezears reset into a bump. Joreuz able to get around it. We are now slotted for our close matchup after the 2 dominations. Joreuz is able to catch the ball that's fading away from the nets, but he cannot seem to 50 past Rezears right now. Earlier he was having such an easy time doing it. He borderline just passed the ball to Rezears by missing so high up in the air, but Rezears may be a bit starved on boost to not punish him for it. Now Joreuz attacking a low boost. Rezears slams an immediate shot. Might not been the best decision. He had played it a bit slower and let the ball stay around nets. He might have been able to pin Rezears back and keep him there for a longer time, but by playing the ball quickly, Rezears on low boost gets to use the ball's momentum to clear it. You know, he can powerfully send it off the back wall and give himself an opportunity to immediately get himself out of defense, whereas when somebody's low on boost and you slow the game down and then force a 50 on the goal line, there's nothing they can do. They can't escape, especially when they're, you know, 80 to 100 boosts down from the opposition. But Joreuz still has the lead. He's going to take oh no, he's going to take a trip to the boost, but he's not going to pick it up. He took a slight detour because he needed 100, but he didn't actually get the boost. Rezears, man, he can't 50 through Joreuz either. The goal line defense has become exceptional on both sides. Joreuz now a couple fake challenges. Rezears goes to the wave dash shot. See Joreuz trying to switch the cam to see where Rezears is going to be at. This first touch isn't great, and there's nothing Joreuz can do with it. Rezears is out of boost, though. Cannot convert. Going the other way. That'll be Joreuz with low boost. Rezears, though, is going to let him escape. Looks like he'll be out to the midfield to get the 100. Rezears undercutting, but you got to be on the top to grab those 100s so many times. It seems like somebody is in a great position to starve out their opponent, but they fall over the top of them and get the 100 hitbox, which is slightly elevated, I swear. Joreuz! Oh, almost didn't score on this. He absolutely should have after he made it over the top of this reverse challenge. Reverse challenges have to be really fast usually to get them to work. Rezears slowly reversing towards the ball. Not often going to do it. It's usually when you 180 and then challenge almost immediately before the opponent can get a read. It's just reversing in Rocket League so slow. These guys' brains are too fast, but Rezears converting on a kickoff. Not an easy one either. He takes the ball off the corner and plays a bit of keep away, just far enough away for the challenge from Joreuz to be awkward. Last year, both Chronic and Moxie helped their teams qual, but were not allowed to play. I think it was more like, I talked to Flitz about it, who was on All Mid. I think it was kind of like the organization or whatever who was running it was going to pay for 3 players or something like that to come out and not 4. Or maybe there was like managers or something, and there's a certain amount of players or people, like humans, that a team can take. So it depends on how many humans they're taking. I don't know. I don't know the whole details. But what I have heard from Cosmic is that he seems to think he'll be there as Rezears demos Joreuz to tie this game up. I could see it both ways, by the way. I think a lot of people are going to say that they want to force one team of 3 to play every mode, which is a fine take as well. I think you could do it both ways. But I have no issues with the 4-man roster and a 1 specialist. It could enable a lot of players that we love to watch to become very useful in, a very popular competitive aspect. Gamers 8, I think, is going to be very viewed by lots of people and very highly respected in terms of winning it. And I think getting the 1s players out there would be a chance to show how good they are at the game mode that doesn't often get a spotlight. Rezears up 6-4, ending this game with a goal right behind Joreuz. 9 seconds, going to have to be 2 great kickoffs for Joreuz. That's not it. Rezears scooping the boost and ending the game with a potential another goal. Means he'll be up 2-1. I think Joreuz is going to go try and get his Fennec again, because obviously he failed to get it last time. All right, game number 4. A little bit of a mix-up. I think Joreuz is trying to get a Fennec happening, but obviously is not in a Fennec, so must not have figured it out. So we head to game number 4. He'll have to do it old school in the Octane. New account with all his titles on it? Yeah, I don't really understand what the deal is with this situation, because he has RLCS champion on this account, so I'm sure it'll all be figured out eventually. Rezears capitalizing on a poor attack from Joreuz. Joreuz stealing the corner boost, thinking he's in a position that he can hold on to the ball still, or at least hold on to any sort of pressure on Rezears, but no. The catch and flick is full field. Rezears here forced into this 0 boost flick on target. The other option is to let Joreuz have boost and the ball. Now he's looking to see if he can steal the possession away. He might have succeeded in doing so as Joreuz launches the long shot and ultimately capitalizes. All of that comes as a continuation of the kickoff that Joreuz won, and that Rezears was hesitant to give him full control of. Joreuz into the back corner again. Rezears showing that he prefers to be on ball as opposed to getting his chance at 100 boosts, but he's going to be forced back anyways as Joreuz attacks Rezears in net. Tries to power slide all the way around Rezears, who's actually pretty far outside of the net. Joreuz needs a reverse shot, but he's Joreuz, so it's not going to be tough for him. An interesting setup here. He absolutely forced Rezears off the ball. Then he hook shots Rezears instead of the ball and just slams him onto the back wall and is able to get his second goal. Rezears kickoff win. You see Joreuz much more willing to leave the play and grab 100, because we just saw Rezears on multiple occasions not willing to do that. The same kind of spot that Joreuz is in, he would have turned and made a play and looked to break up the possession first before ever going for any boost. Rezears gets a third. It's going to be another similar situation as the kickoff gets lost I don't know if Joreuz was racing to the corner to try and beat him there and just didn't win. One thing about Gamers 8, and that a lot of people in the chat were doing as Rezears gets a nice reset, but another kickoff win is the result, or is the reason why this happens. Great setup, by the way, far away from the right post where Joreuz was on the back wall. A lot of people in Gamers 8 in the chat will watch, and they'll see a name that they recognize. The first time they did it was with AJ and CRR. And don't get me wrong, last time AJ and CRR, they played a show match on my stream fairly recently, not long, like maybe a couple weeks ago. And AJ won. He won 3-1. So, I mean, I think he's the better 1v1 player in the matchup against the two of them. But he's certainly not, you know, I could never lose a best of one against a CRR level of good. And everybody in the chat was blown away that CRR was able to get a win. In fact, when they played last time, it was 3-1. CRR got one win. It was very, very possible that CRR can win a best of one against AJ, and yet the chat was saying that, you know, AJ had completely choked and thrown everything by losing a game to him. I was like, I don't think that's true. I think players were also, or the chat I should say, were also slightly underestimating Atomic, because Cosmic was brought in for ones for his team, but then Atomic beat him. And everyone was like, oh my goodness, Cosmic, he's the ones main. How could he not do this? I'm like, guys, Atomic is good. He might not like play a ton of ones, but I'm pretty sure he has a decent ones history as well. Joreuz in and out of the nets. Can't get this save. Rezears has been trying to make the wave dash cuts work. He's also been doing a sort of diagonal dash, or a side flip dash almost, that I don't see a ton of players doing. I don't know if you guys have noticed Rezears doing that. I'll try and point it out next time he does it. He actually might have been doing it right now, and I might have missed it. On his way back, he somehow got the save. Joreuz couldn't force it through. Joreuz has had a rough go of it since game number 1. Right now, he's trying to wait patiently for Rezears, who gets way too much power. If Joreuz is not wrong if Rezears lets this ball fall to the ground with, you know, any sort of lack of power, except Rezears just got the maximum. Air rolling around the ball, getting like right under the center of mass where he needed to launch it, and he just got such a strong hit. Joreuz's positioning is fine against the majority of players there who won't be able to find that kind of power. They'll just drop it down onto him where he can 50 and escape, but Joreuz down 4. Definitely looking to break the series, or break the tilt a little bit. The way he's moving back in this corner, he's even going to throw a GG, which I think was recognizable by the way he was moving in that corner, that he's not likely to think he can win this game. But it is a best of 7, so he's got a chance to win 3 straight as we head to game number 5. Game number 5. Signet, yeah, Joreuz is actually a bot, chat. Today, we have Rezears against a very well-trained bot. Maybe the best trained bot ever, as you can see. He is a Signet account as he dashes his way to his first goal. The bot has been trained on wall dashes. Wave dash kickoff for Rezears. Seems like Joreuz actually was trying to hit one too. He popped himself a bit too high. It's a really great first touch from Rezears. Hard to time those reads as you come off the wall, and it seems like he got exactly what he wanted. This is not what he wants though, as he tried to catch the ball infield with his first touch. Now he's going to have to deal with a Joreuz who's all over the play. Oh, nice pre-flip into the corner. Wow. I'll watch this again from Rezears' perspective. just pre-flips to get that touch up into the corner away from Joreuz. So what is the consensus on why Joreuz has a new account? No, we don't know. No, the Alpha Boost stuff happened forever ago. I can't imagine it's related to that. I think Joreuz told me, and like I said, it was a snooze fest. I don't know, something. There's a bunch of sentences and it wasn't anything interesting, so I tuned out. Is that bad? Or I didn't fully understand what he was trying to say, and I was like, it's not worth clarifying because it just seems like, you know, nitpicky stuff. Rezears is going to take a long shot off of Joreuz's pass. Another kickoff win to the left wall for Rezears. Joreuz to the ceiling. Tried to challenge it from in the air, but could not intercept. Watch this again. This is definitely a bit of a risky challenge, but the shot was actually high enough that it wasn't the worst idea ever. Joreuz trying to make something happen off the kickoff, but maybe a bit too greedily. Rezears cuts it in field, gives it an opportunity to be saved. Joreuz was going to be in trouble. I don't think he's going to get a midfield spawn here. Not in time. So he's going to have to play it on 0. Which means he's likely going to have to give up the ball. Even if he gets a touch now, he still has just a pad. Look at the wall dash. If he finds a way to score this, I'm going to be very impressed. At the very least, he maybe has held on to possession, but no. Rezears beats him to the back corner, which almost certainly forces Joreuz off the ball, unless Rezears randomly flips underneath and makes no contact. He's in and out of the net. Joreuz tried to adjust to the setup. He was looking to bounce and hookshot top right, which is kind of what Rezears was looking to cover by going in and out of the net. So Joreuz wanted to just roll one slow to the bottom left. He ended up being just barely wide, but luckily for him, he had the follow-up as well. Joreuz needs to find the spark, and maybe this could be the first of many for him as he slams the back wall double. Kickoff win for Joreuz, which will be important as the series goes on. You see a little bit of a bacon mix-up trying to get Rezears to pull himself out of net, and Rezears thought his octane was a bit taller than it really was. Certainly, he was hoping to make a connection here, but Joreuz just keeps it in the air, catches it, keeps it just high enough to not make contact. Joreuz. Kickoff possession taken straight at the net, and it'll be a goal. Rezears gonna have to make some adjustments on the kickoff. I haven't been paying close attention to how these two have been attacking him. I've seen a mix of wave dash and standard. This time Joreuz goes standard, and Rezears bumps him a couple times off the wave dash, but Joreuz is right back with a revenge bump. Rezears taking this away from Joreuz to the side wall. Now has himself an air dribble. He's looking at a small part of the net, but he almost found a way to get there. His dribble was already left of center, and he was on the right side of the ball, which meant the only place he could shoot was even farther left. So it was a really small window, and Rezears actually almost found it. He's going to have to finish it off with a double. Just a bit wide. Rezears, big miss. Joreuz can't follow it up with enough power. I don't think he was expecting Rezears to miss there. He was expecting a booming clear, so he'd already turned back to prepare for that. Now he bumps Rezears off the ball and gets enough speed on the front flip flick that he'll be able to follow it up without being interfered with. 5-3. Joreuz beginning the comeback in the series, potentially, if he can hold on to this lead. But it's another left wall kickoff win for Rezears. This time, he does not take any shots. I know, he almost missed. Did he even get a touch on this ball? Did Joreuz end up own goaling it? Rezears takes it all the way to the ground after Joreuz threatened a few times on the back wall. Oh, I think it's an own goal. I think Joreuz just tapped it in. If somehow he could have avoided getting another touch, he might have been able to get around it and keep it out. But honestly, Rezears probably recovers faster and gives it the tap in either way. Rezears is going to tie the game up. The kickoffs have shifted back in his favor. Joreuz finds himself unable to keep the kind of ball pressure that he'd like after losing the kickoff and being on 0 boost. Rezears has done a good job of countering the full length of the field. Tried to dunk on Joreuz here. He's going to demo him. So now he's got all the space and time in the world, but he actually wants to play on a quick recovery Rezears, and I actually don't hate that idea. You either want to take it nice and slow, set up your favorite attack, or try and capitalize on that 3-second respawn time, which is not that easy to do, but Joreuz actually did a great job of playing it quickly to the top left, which forced an immediate save out of Rezears that got him stuck in the net, and then all of this is just the ensuing follow-up play of Rezears not being able to get 100 boost, having to play defense immediately, and ends up putting himself out of position with only 12. He's won this kickoff, though, to the left wall again. These two matching wave dashes, and Rezears is so pure on the setup. I mean, Rezears, he is one of the best dribblers. Looks so comfortable as he grabs this reset, and he gets it far away from the net, which I think is really important. If you're able to get that reset on a slow dribble at ceiling heights, almost at midfield, it means you can threaten using the flip all the way down to the shot, and Joreuz just hasn't been able to get the read on that recently. 6-6. Rezears could be a goal away. He's in another great position. He's going to try and just shoot the ball right, and it works. Sometimes it doesn't need to be crazy, especially when he's been hitting so many different resets. He just gets around the ball and places it as far away from Joreuz as he can, and Joreuz, who has been trying to adjust on the back wall to all of those reset plays, ends up being just a bit too high. 13 seconds and a kickoff win has to happen here for Joreuz. Rezears actually delays his kickoff, and it gets the ball tapped into his half, but he's first to this one, and I don't see a world in which Joreuz is able to get enough boost to make anything happen, so it should just be Rezears dribbling the ball into the net and winning 4 straight games after losing game number 1. Rezears wins the best of 7 and is looking ready for the 1v1 game mode in Gamers Without Borders.